Fast.
Andrew Ferraro here with Exit Bayshore Realty to talk about new construction homes in Port Tampa City. Now, we actually live in Port Tampa and we love this area. The neighborhood is growing by leaps and bounds. It is, if you look at the map again, this is south of Gandy and this is west of Dale Mabry Highway. So the southwest quadrant of South Tampa, and it's one of the last affordable areas in South Tampa where you can get a nice family home for less than $1 million. We've talked about the location of this neighborhood in other videos. We've got all kinds of fantastic things going on here. We've got waterfront restaurants right up the road. We've got a marina. The West Shore Yacht Club's right up the road. The West Shore Marina District is going in. Picnic Island is right down at the end of the block. And we're snuggled right up against MacDill Air Force Base. So central location, great value if you're looking for a place in Tampa here where you can still get a little bit of elbow room and be very convenient to a lot of what's going on in the area. Now, when you're looking at new construction listings, the first thing that you want to look at is this a pre-construction or under construction listing? So pre-construction homes means that the builder has not broken ground and they're not going to break down probably until they get a buyer under contract for the property. So they're not going to put their own money out to do the site work and raise the structure of the building until they have a buyer in place. And pre-construction homes take a longer time to build and close because none of those steps have been taken before the point of contract. Under construction homes means that the builder has actually started the process. The builder has pulled permits, they've broken ground, and they've started the construction of the home. My favorite way to buy new construction homes is when you can find one that's almost complete, the drywall's not up, it doesn't look like a finished product, so most buyers are not able to visualize their life in this home yet. And go ahead and jump on that property, get locked in as the builder is finishing the build. And when you're that far into the build, you can kind of see, you have a good idea of the quality that you're looking at. Okay, it's not just pictures on a piece of paper that you're choosing from. You can actually walk through and see the property. So major difference on the listings. First thing you're going to look for when you're going to buy a new construction home is this listing for a pre-construction home or an under construction home? What most people are looking for when they say I want to buy a new construction home is the under construction version. Next thing we're going to cover is a common myth in the market here. I get a lot of phone calls from people that think that because the interest rates are up, that builders are going to bend over backwards to accommodate them with drastic price reductions and throwing in all kinds of terms. That's just not the case. The builders are selling these homes just as fast as they can build them. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to that. The ones that have gone on the market and they have not sold are situations where the builders are not the most experienced builders, so they've been a little over-ambitious, they've kind of overbuilt, overpriced, and have gotten a lack of reaction from the market, and now they're working that price backwards. And they've worked the price backwards effectively until they've gone into contract. Now, we've had a bit of a lull, a shock in the market here with the interest rates rising. But that shock is kind of worn off. The interest rate conversation is normalized, and there's still more people moving to the area than we actually have housing for. So the builders are slammed. They're selling them as fast as they can build them for the most part. Lennar has a few new construction homes available now from $595,000 to $666,000. Castle has built a block of homes down the road. They've got like 5 in a row or 7 in a row, and they're very nice looking homes. They don't look just like each other, but they all look like they fit together. They've got nice colors on the outside, nice architectural details, and they're well made. When you walk through these properties, you can see, as we'll get into here in a minute, that these homes are well built. You've got a foreman on site here that's making sure that the build is organized, that it is a clean working space, and that the things that are installed on these homes are installed well, and the materials that they're using are quality materials. That's what we're looking for in a new construction home, and that's what we're looking for in a builder when we choose to go with a builder. Miranda Homes has a few for sale here. They're not currently listed on the MLS, but if you're interested in looking into some of those, we can help you dig through the details there and find out where the best values are at. There's also a 3D printed home that's available here. It's gonna be the first luxury 3D printed home in the Tampa area, and it's right here in Port Tampa City. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot, 3D printed concrete home. It's gonna have some luxury finishes here. It's gonna be, you know, a smaller footprint, but for those first movers out there that wanna be in something really interesting, you want a conversation piece, this is gonna be one of them. If you're interested in going after this 3D printed home, this is gonna be one that you need to go into with an open mind and understand that the plans for this home are not completely drawn out. The finishings and selections are not picked yet. So you're gonna have a lot of leeway to work with the builder to make this property your own. And at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities for missed communications. So you wanna make sure if you're gonna go after this property that you really spell the details out and you go in there with the right expectations of getting, you know, first mover advantage, getting a very cool property. And this is the best advice that I can give to anybody that's looking at building a home. Consider it commissioning a piece of art. You can tell the builder exactly what you want, and he can hear the exact words that you said, and you both can have two different understandings of what was just said. So you want to go into these things with some flexibility, with some grace in mind, and expect to get a cool product that abides by what is written down on your contracts, but understand that there are going to be subtle differences here and there along the way that are going to have to be accommodated for by the nature of all the human beings that are going to work together to build this home. There's several reasons why you would want to use a real estate agent when you're buying a new construction home. One, expertise and knowledge. You want an agent that understands the difference between builders and what each value position is, and how that correlates with the price of the home and the available options on the home and the lot, the property involved. Negotiation skills. An agent that has their finger on the pulse of the market is going to know how builders are going to be willing to negotiate. A lot of them don't want to drop the price, for instance. They're more willing to throw in a closing credit or an upgrade so that they can keep their prices high for the appraisals on all the builds that follow yours. Protection. A real estate agent can protect your interest by understanding the difference between what is acceptable and what is done in a workmanlike fashion, and what is slop work and what needs to be addressed. Now, most of us can make that call off the top of our heads, but when you're in the throes of, you know, a 6-month build and you've worked through a couple of issues, sometimes it helps to have that third party to look back at the transaction, understand what's normal and what is outside of the realm of a normal transaction. Agents can also look over the contracts and other legal documents and ensure that you're protected and advise on those contracts. The big track builders have set contracts that are fairly regular, and you can sign those contracts with a fair amount of confidence and proceed forward. When you really get into the nitty-gritty on the contracts is the smaller builders. And you don't always know. Sometimes, you know, you're buying a new home and it's only like the third build a builder's ever done, and that's very common in the Tampa area. There are a lot of new builders coming on the scene. So when you get in with those smaller builders, you want to make sure those contracts are right. You do not want to get into a situation where you've already signed your rights away to do certain inspections or to like have the final say in some finishes. So you want to be careful about the contracts you're signing. If you're dealing with smaller builders, read that contract and read every single word on the page and get it ironed out on the front end. You know, if it's something that you're not comfortable with and you bring it to the site agent and you say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this term here, is it something we can change? They might be able to change just that term, and you may avoid an obstacle down the road that would otherwise be a lot more difficult to deal with. It's hard to walk back the cat sometimes after events are in motion. And then, the final reason you want to use an agent is just peace of mind. When you've got somebody on your team that can help you through the transaction, help you negotiate a good deal on the front end, and also set realistic expectations. Builders are building homes for a living. They need to punch these homes out quickly and efficiently and move on to the next home. They're not making a career out of each individual property. So, you want to have a little bit of grace, give them, the benefit of the doubt until they've given you reason not to, and allow them to work through their process. You want to give them room. For instance, when it's time to do the final walkthrough, do the final walkthrough at that time. Don't stop by the job site every 2 weeks and be pointing out things, nitpicking on this and that, because by doing that, you'll pull their attention off of their own process to fix the 1 or 2 things that they would have fixed here shortly anyhow. And you kind of throw their rhythm off from time to time. If you nitpick on what a builder's doing and you're unfair about how often you're asking for changes and how often you're on the job site, you really can throw the rhythm of the build off. When you decide to commission a new construction build, especially if you do something like a pre-construction build with a smaller builder, you're stepping into a relationship, and you want to make sure that the relationship goes well, that you work well together, that you have a good open line of communication. Let's take a walk through some of these properties here. I'm going to walk through some new homes, some homes that are in the construction process, and I want to highlight a couple of things here. One is I just want to give those of you that have not seen the steps of how a home is built, from bare earth to laying the plumbing, getting the foundation in, the walls coming up, roof going on, plumbing, electric, finishes happening, and then drywall, painting, and fixtures. So I want to take a walk through that process very quickly. And then 2, I want to compare builder to builder. So we're going to walk through some of these construction sites, and you'll see that some of them are very well organized and well kept. And some of their work, their craftsmanship, has nice square edges and straight lines. And then others are building at a quicker pace. Their construction sites are a mess, for lack of better words. When you build and your workstation is a mess, you're going to run into some issues that you would not have if you were nice and clean and organized every step of the way. At the same time, I'm sure they're following ISO 9000 procedures, and they have checks and balances throughout the system that they'll come back. They're just moving so quickly that, sometimes you'll slap everything up, then you'll come back in phase 2, fix anything that wasn't right from phase 1, and move through phase 3, and so on and so forth as you move through the build, correcting issues as you go. And, they can quite literally afford to make more mistakes because they're a larger builder. So without further ado, let's take a look at these things and discuss them as we go. This place is just getting ready for drywall. So everything else is done. And you'll notice in other homes too, other builders, that they're just more clean at this point. You see the trash everywhere, and that carries through the transaction. Look at this shower here. Okay, these tile showers are notorious for failing. Ask a stonemason, ask a professional stonemason how often tile showers fail. And one of the keys to getting them right is getting this rubber component right. Okay. Getting that sealed in correctly with a watertight seal. Now, look closely at what we have going on here. We got nails in the bottom of this. Okay, we got crumpled up corners. Okay. We got a patch job that's obviously not watertight. Okay, we got sloppy corners here. And it's just screwed down to the deck 3 or 4 times there. And that's a super cheap diverter. I mean, you might as well throw a Delta in there, and then that way you can change the trim out later, but whatever. When your workspace is this sloppy, you don't see the details in your own work, and little mistakes slip through the cracks. So the way they build these is they build the concrete walls, okay, and the little step walls there, and then they add a block, and then they build little frames and bring a cement truck in to pour the flooring here. Okay, so there's probably like 6 inches of concrete there, or 4 or something, and then under that concrete pad is dirt. And before you pour the concrete pad, you're also bringing your plumbing up and setting all your drains and water supply. Okay, no power in the building yet. And you can see the construction on these is going to be concrete block on the first floor with wood frame above. We're walking in here. This one has some frame walls going up here. So we're block and then 2x6 on the exterior walls and 2x4 on the interior walls. Okay, so you're gonna have some extra integrity here with the structure of the home. And you can see we have our walls up here, but the roof trusses have not gone on yet. Okay, once the 4 walls go up and the sheeting goes on the outside of them, you've got pretty good structure on the home. And there are things you want done correctly by your builder. You know, you want these hurricane straps tied in right. You know, you want those nailed on good. You want your flashing watertight. You know, you want your peel and stick on the roof done just right. These look pretty good. I mean, with any builder you can nitpick, but look at the cleanliness of this job site and how well organized this house looks compared to WCI that we were just in, where their whole job site was a mess over there. As we move forward on the timeline here, you can see we've got the electric is going in, windows are in, got the furring strips on the wall. So the drywall is going to come right on top of this and sit here. Okay, you can see our wires run, but they haven't actually set up for the fixtures to come in. See, the ductwork is in. And again, these are things inside the walls that you want to have a look at. You want to make sure you don't have any pinched corners in the ductwork. You know, you want to make sure you don't have any nails that have shot through one of these electrical wires. It's just a good opportunity to get in here and see behind the drywall. And you can see how the water lines are run and the drain lines are hung. It's the little things that are going to make this thing live well. And that's Pella windows, Adventech flooring, nice switches on the wall, ductwork that's hung right, air returns that are positioned well to get the air of the house to flow right. circulate, not leave any rooms under or over circulated. Okay, we picked on WCI's shower there a little bit. Let's look at what we got here in a castle home. This is outstanding. So this is what I'm looking at here. The difference between a WCI home and this castle home can be summed up right here. So this is the exact same shower pan material. Okay, but instead of the other one just being slapped up there with nails and screws and obvious holes in it, they're not going to hold water. What they've done is they've set their shower liner. Okay, they made sure that it's clean and organized. These things really have to be, like, you have to get your corners right in order for these not to leak later. Okay, and then they went the extra step here of filling this thing up for water. They filled this thing up with water and they let it sit over the weekend, and they're going to come back and make sure that there's still water in here to ensure that it's watertight before they lay tile down on top of it. That's why you want a decent builder. Okay, that is a Delta diverter. Okay, and the significance here is that 6 years from now, Delta right there, 6 years from now, when you want to come and change the trim out, you don't need to bust your tile work out or cut a hole in the wall to replace the diverter. Once the drywall and the tile's up, you can just replace your trim. Not a big deal until you go to do something like that, and the difference is, you know, $1,200 worth of tile and drywall or whatever repair, and just buying upgraded trim or new trim if one of the things breaks. Again, this bathroom fan up here. Can we see that? See how the mastic is done well? It's organized. They've got an air seal from the exterior of the house to the interior where it's going to suck air up through here. Now that doesn't really matter on day one or in the first 5 years or whatever, but after extended periods of time where these fans are sucking the moisture out of this bathroom, you know, you're taking long showers or whatever, bathrooms get some moisture in them. See, they've got another fan right here. When it sucks the moisture up and out of the house and it doesn't leak into the attic space, then everything stays nice and dry and clean. And when you don't have a good seal there and moisture gets into the attic space right above the bathroom, you wind up with that dank, musty smell, you know, starting to set in. These other little features here, this laundry room. So you've got the recessed port for the dryer. So when you push your dryer in here, you can actually put it up against the wall, and this gives room for the pipe to bend right here from the dryer. You can go flash up against the wall. And it's a little thing, but then, you know, your dryer and washer are not at two different depths from the wall there. And again, it's clean, it's well organized, 2x6 walls. When your job site's clean and you're looking at the mechanics of what's supposed to be here and what's not supposed to be here, you can see clearly. But when your job site's a total mess, you just can't see all this stuff that well. I hope this video leaves you a little better informed when it comes to new construction purchases and helps you understand how to compare builders and new construction properties apples to apples. If you like this information, please like, subscribe, or comment so that the algorithm will feed it back to you, or share it with other people that may benefit from the information. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Andrew Ferraro signing off.
Fast.